WOCA. Ocala. 25 minutes before 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in this Thursday morning. Robin, I think I may have discovered the secret to predicting the future. I think I may have discovered this.
Okay.
Because, I'm not psychic. I've tried this before. I got the tarot cards and it didn't work. I tried.
Yeah.
I said Om with my legs crossed and I didn't see anything other than the girl across the room. And she was vibrating very nicely as well. But it just, this whole idea that you can tell the future, I'm not saying nobody can do this, but I don't think I have the ability. However, I have a way to cheat, and I think the way I would cheat is by reading science fiction. Mm-hmm. It is amazing when you look at science fiction, old science fiction, and look at what was being written by the science fiction writers of years ago, and then you realize, wow, they're writing about cell phones. Wow, they're writing about space travel. Wow, they're writing about machines that can print hearts and lungs and organs. And we have, I guess we're starting to have that, or maybe we have that. I'm not really sure. They wrote about cloning. Mm-hmm. They wrote about so much, right? H.G. Wells. Look at the stuff he wrote, right? His name always comes up when this conversation comes up. Even things that, you might say, I can predict the future, science fiction, because we're going to develop this and that and the other thing. Well, what about the guy who wrote the book, The Titan?
Yes.
Right? And I think it was the end of the 1800s, and then by 1912, the Titanic sunk? Yeah. And then the Titanic story, the real story, was almost identical to the fictional story.
Yeah, very scary.
So I think science fiction writers have a little tap into the future. We have on the phone an award-winning science fiction writer. His name is Timothy Jordan. He is one of the 12 writer winners of the L. Ron Hubbard Writers of the Future Awards 2014. I think that means he went out to L.A. to do this. His story that got him the honors is called The Push Bike Legion. And I guess the award ceremony was back in April
13th.
There you go, April. Yeah, there you go. It was the 30th annual L. Ron Hubbard Achievement Awards. And he's on the phone with us right now. Timothy Jordan. Good morning, Timothy.
Good morning. Thanks for having me on your show.
Thank you. Well, you're a gentle-speaking man.
I am, yes. Yeah, can you hear me okay?
You sound fine. You sound fine. I'm just trying to think who you sound like. Well, thank you. But you live here in Florida.
I do. I've been here 10 years. I was welcomed to Florida by Hurricane Charlie, I think.
Hurricane Charlie. That's okay. It says here you play guitar, too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm a classical guitarist. A really bad one, but you got to
really bad. No, really bad and classical don't go together. And you build robots, is that right?
That's kind of my hobby, yeah. I'm trying to make it my career, and then I started writing, and now I'm trying to make that my career. So we'll see which one works out best.
Do you know if I've often thought about robots? I've often thought that in science fiction movies, robots always had 2 arms, 2 legs, and a head. They were designed sort of kind of to look like humans. Mm-hmm. And I've often thought, I wonder if that's really the most efficient way to create a machine that's going to do the things we wanted to do.
Yeah, seems like not the case to me. I mean, the robots I've made have got wheels on and 6 legs and all sorts of things, but 2-legged ones are kind of difficult, I have to say.
Yeah, what? I mean, I guess if you were God and you were making, human beings, I don't know. But anyway, wow, this is fascinating. So what is the, I might be in the Push Bike Legion because whenever I ride a bike, I have to push it up the hill.
Yeah, I realized after I'd written that maybe is not a term that translates over here. I mean, push bike is just what we say in England for bicycle. It's sort of an old term for bicycle, I guess.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. See, that helps me understand it right away. So this is a book about riding a bicycle. Is it told from but this is a science fiction bicycle, right? I mean, book, right?
Yeah. It's actually it's a story that's set in an English village, and the rest of the world has been consumed by some nanotechnological apocalypse, and somehow this little village has been preserved in like a bubble. And the only transport these guys have to get around now, because all their technology's failed, is bicycles. So they have like a local militia, which they call the Legion, and they all ride around on bicycles patrolling their tiny land. And it's kind of a story about Alec, who's growing up in this land, and he's, getting into mischief and coming of age and things. And
so he's what, 14 or 15?
Exactly, yeah. He's just coming out as being an adult and starting to question the world and try and figure out how they got in that state and how they can get out of it.
Wow.
This is a fascinating twist on the science fiction genre, because we always see spaceships, laser guns, all of that type of thing, and then you brought it back to the bicycle.
Yeah. I like to sort of take ordinary sort of people in very ordinary situations and throw them into a really sort of high-tech sci-fi situation and just see what comes out. And this is actually probably one of the least sci-fi stories that I've ever written, but it went down very well with the judges at the competition. And
really?
And I got an award. Yeah.
So what happened? You had the book written and then you heard about this competition, and how long ago did you? Was the book sitting around forever, and then you finally let somebody read it?
Well, the story itself I wrote about 3 years ago, but I've been reading the anthologies for years. I've always enjoyed the Writers of the Future anthology, but I never really thought of entering. And then we had sort of a turn down in the economy a couple of years ago, and I found I had a bit more time on my hands than maybe I needed. And I thought, let's do some real writing, and where can I send it? What can I do with it? And
wow.
It's just leaps out at me as a great idea. So
now, one of the things I like, and you will correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure, but one of the things I like about the L. Ron Hubbard Science Fiction Awards, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I understand it is writers can enter this, and there's no entrance fee. Right,
it is free, yes. The only requirement's really that you are not a famous published author already.
See, I love that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's a toe in the door of the publishing industry for us unknowns.
Yeah.
A way to get the material out there, and a lot of exposure, really, because the book sells quite well.
But so many contests. There's the John Lennon songwriting contest. They send us stuff all the time, and we don't talk about it. I mean, I am now, only to make a point. Mm-hmm. No offense to John Lennon, by the way. This is whoever decided to make a songwriting contest with his name. And they charge, I think, $45 a song.
Yeah.
So it's and there's one winner who wins what, $1,000 or $5,000, whatever it is.
Yeah, not much.
It's like, holy cow! How much money do they make with these things? That's why I like what this contest is about. It's really, I mean, it's about finding some good writers. They must have some voracious readers in the judges because when it's free, I'm sure they get more than they can handle.
Oh. They get thousands of entries, and they have, 15 or so judges that have to wade through all these entries. And as somebody that might end up a science fiction writer, I'd be happy to go back and judge for a while for them. But yeah, that's going to be that's an effort to read that much stuff in that shorter period of time.
And this is a huge honor, and the gala that everybody attends is really magnificent because we see the Grammys and the Academy Awards on television, and this is the same caliber in the same kind of setting.
Yeah. They told me when I turned up there, they said, Tim, as a writer, you will never be treated this well again unless you win like an Oscar or something like that. And I think they're right. You really do get treated well. It's a fantastic red carpet, sort of limos, and there was even a robot helicopter thing with a camera on outside filming us. And then we have this, you go into the beautiful theatre there, and you're entertained, and
wow,
videos and things, and there's speeches, and there's famous people get up there and do talks. It was just great.
Oh wow,
really well done.
Now, do you want, or how do I ask this question? Kind of make it all one. Do you want this to be a movie? And is there anybody interested in making it a movie?
No one's shown any interest yet, but I would love it to be a movie. I actually think it would make a good TV series, and I was thinking of sort of plugging it to the BBC or something. Maybe they might be interested. So if there's any BBC people listening out there, then
I don't have any BBC people listening. Although we will put this interview on the internet, so you never know. The one thing I wanted to ask was, and you might not even know this, but what do you think it was that put you over the top? I mean, you said there were thousands of people, and you're one of how many?
Yeah, one of 12.
One of 12. So what was it about your story? Was it your writing style? Did you have a twist at the end that they didn't see coming? What was it?
I think you have to have all of those things. I mean, I've obviously entered before. This was my 7th entry, and I've not won before. But each time I've sort of analysed the stories that won and thought, well, why did they all beat mine? And I realised that they had, vibrant, real characters that you could like and interesting settings, and a lot of them had sort of positive, hopeful endings. One of the negative things about science fiction is it's often very sort of dystopian, everyone gets murdered by the robots.
Right.
Kind of negative, but they kind of like things that at least have some hope at the end. And the chief judge actually told me that was one of the things they liked.
Oh, really? So you do know what made it put you over the top?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, they liked the story, and it made it all the way through to the finals based on the story itself. When it came to that final judgment, they picked mine because it was positive and uplifting at the end rather than a downer. So.
Were you able to converse with all of the judges at some point before the ceremony to talk one-on-one?
Yeah, we met some of them like the day or two before and after at the gala and things. So I met Dave Wolverton, who is the editor of The Writers of the Future and also one of the main judges. And he was the guy that really championed my story. He's quite a famous science fiction guy, and it was a real honor to meet him and to sort of talk about possible futures and things. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Since you are a science-minded person as well as a gifted, like you, both sides of your brain are working. You've got the art side and the science side working. Right. I want to ask you something. In the intro, I said, and I'm not the first to have said this, that a lot of science fiction writers have maybe accidentally predicted the future, and who knows if they predicted it or actually influenced it. I mean, some people say that the reason we have cell phones is because of the phones they were using on Star Trek. It wasn't predicting it as much as kind of influencing it. Okay, but one thing, as far as I know, that has not happened yet that does occur in science fiction a lot is time travel. And I want to, before you address that, I want to say one thing. We had on the phone here, similar to what you're doing right now, a guest, and she was, I guess, giving advice to authors and what to send to the publishers. And if you're going to write science fiction, she suggested you stay away from the time travel theme. Mm-hmm. And I said, why? And she said, because it's never going to happen. It's not believable. And I said, well, how do you know it's never going to happen?
Yeah.
And so anyway, I mean, that was her opinion. I'm sure that some publishers will publish a book that shows time travel. But so what are your thoughts on that from a science point of view and also from a writer's point of view?
I wonder whether time travel is like one of the oldest science fiction things. I mean, H.G. Wells wrote The Time Machine 120 years ago, or whatever it was. So maybe we've just been writing about it so long that we'll sort of turn their nose up at it. But I read good time travel stuff in Analog magazine and Asimov's and things, and it's still out there. I guess people are looking for something maybe a bit nearer term that they can get their hands on. There's so many new technologies that come along, like nanotechnology and all the medical stuff. And
Do you know what science fascinates me is, and I don't know anything about it other than what I watch in these little videos, but the quantum physics stuff.
Exactly, that is all very new. I mean, nobody was writing quantum physics sci-fi back in the 1890s because we hadn't thought of it yet. So. But actually, I believe that time travel is possible, though, at least in the forward direction.
I'm traveling forward right now.
Exactly, right. I'm traveling forward at about the same rate that you are.
Yeah, I can do that. And in fact, my dog travels ahead in time quicker than I do because she was a puppy just 12 years ago. Now she's an old lady.
Yeah. We've seen in your background that you are writing novels in a sci-fi series. After you wrote the first one and then you got this award, are you changing your writing style any, or are you going back and revisiting what you've written in your uncompleted manuscript?
Yeah, I think you have to. As a unpublished sort of, I really view myself as a beginner at this, and every time you have to revisit things. Every time you get some new information and new knowledge, you have to sort of revisit what you've done and reevaluate it and say, is that really that good, or should I change this? So yeah, you're constantly updating and revising until the point when somebody says, we'll buy that off of you, and then it's kind of fixed then, and you know that's the way
Did you do your own editing of the entry that one, or did you have someone else be the editor?
Yeah, mostly mine. My wife is very supportive in this field, and she does look through it. She's actually a professor, so she's pretty good at spotting spelling mistakes and grammatical gaps and things. But the actual sort of structural story editing stuff was all my own.
Timothy Jordan is our guest. He is one of the 12 writer winners of the L. Ron Hubbard Writers of the Future Awards 2014. In addition to writing an award-winning book titled The Push Bike Legion, and if you weren't listening earlier, a push bike is an English term, British term, that means a bicycle, basically, right? He creates artificially intelligent computer programs, builds robots. He's a software engineer and a guitarist, a classical guitarist.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you this. Well, first of all, I want to tell you something. The bicycle was patented on this date in 1819. How strange is that?
Really?
We're talking about bicycles.
Wow.
It was patented on this date. They give credit to somebody named W.K. Clarkston Jr. So
That's amazing.
Clarkson. So the Bicycle Legion, they're protecting their area. By the way, I heard this report not too long ago that in England right now there are more bicycles on the roads because people are trying to protest the transportation taxes.
Yeah, I believe that's the case. Also, gasoline over there is $8 a gallon, so it makes a lot of sense.
$8?
Wow.
Yeah, we were just there for our honeymoon, and it was a real shocker every time you fill your tank up.
Oh, you just got married?
Yeah, we got married a couple of weeks ago, so it's been a fantastic 6 months for me with awards and marriage and honeymoons.
Wow!
Oh, congratulations!
You hit the jackpot.
Thank you.
Where can I get your book? Is it for sale online?
Yes, it's for sale on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and.
How come I didn't see it on Amazon? The Push Bike Legion. What am I doing?
The actual book is the L. Ron Hubbard Writers of the Future anthology.
Oh, okay.
Is one of the stories in the anthology. So.
Since you are one of the stories in the anthology, were you able to get an illustrator to illustrate a cover? Is that also included in that collection?
Yeah.
Oh, I found it.
One of the fantastic bits of it is that there's an illustrator competition that runs along with the writer competition. It's called Illustrators of the Future, and it's for people that want to paint and draw science fiction, fantasy art. And the winners get to illustrate the stories in the book. So my illustrator is called Cassandra Boland. She was one of the winners of the illustrator competition. She's done this fantastic picture of my little world with a guy on a bike and a giant sand dune and things. It's really beautiful, and it's in colour in the back of that book, along with a dozen other really fantastic pieces of art. So that was one of the thrills for me, was having somebody interpret my story, an actual artist, do an interpretation of my story.
Oh, that is cool.
Wow.
I found the book on Amazon. I found your picture. Your picture is right there with all the other authors.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah.
You're a handsome guy. You're a young guy.
I'm a bit older than maybe you think I am.
You look young.
Especially when you're accepting the award.
Look at you out in the wood. Did you see this picture, Robin? You're by a fence, by a rock. Where is that? Is that in England?
Oh, that's a cool
photo.
photo.
That's in England. Yeah, that's in the Lake District up the north of England.
That is a pretty picture.
Very influential place on me, and it's that time travel I do. It keeps me young,
Well, since you grew up in that area, it's very rich of legends and things like that. So you must have been intrigued at an extremely young age.
Oh yeah, I was fascinated by Tolkien and Lord of the Rings and stuff from quite a young age. And I've always been into ghosts and mysteries, and it was only as I grew up that I sort of gravitated towards science fiction. Really, I think it was because I was doing engineering at university, and it sort of nudged me in that direction. But
if you are issuing your book or your story as an Audible book, you should do the voice.
Yes.
Don't let anybody else do the voice. You've got a great voice. And as you know, here in America, we love that accent, so you can't go wrong.
Oh, well, thank you. I'll bear that in mind.
I don't know if anybody else I don't know what you think about it in England, but here, your accent is the accent I can't fake it, but if I do, I sound like, I don't know who I sound like. I sound like Ringo. I think every time I try, I think I always sound like Ringo when I, and Ringo has a different.
To do all right, so you're okay.
When you're playing your guitar, do you have different lyrics bouncing around in your head? Do you songwrite also?
I don't. I'm a really bad singer, and I'm not a particularly songwriter, so I tend to stick to just music, and most of that is sort of classical and sort of flamenco-y sort of stuff. So it's a lot of strumming and rhythmic things, and I haven't written any songs yet, but maybe the push bike song could come out of all that.
Does your character Alec possess some of your personality traits?
I think he does, yeah. I think he does, and I think his mum is probably a little bit like my mum, and his friends are probably a little bit like some of my friends. So, yeah, that's bound to happen, that real life seeps into your stories every now and then.
So do you have a young readership? Are you getting email or whatever from like the lady who wrote all the
J.K. Rowling?
Yeah, thank you. She got this amazing following, as everybody knows. Are you starting to get that?
I'm a long way from J.K. Rowling, I think, but I've definitely had a few people do nice reviews and compliment me and say they'd be interested to read more from this little world, and that has spurred me on to think, okay, so we need a sequel here, and maybe we need to turn it into a trilogy of books or something. So, but the fan base is pretty small at the moment, but
the book
it'll grow.
So the book it's in is called Writers of the Future, Volume 30. If you're looking it up online, the author, it says, is L. Ron Hubbard, but he's they took one of his stories and put it in the book as well.
Yeah, I mean, L. Ron Hubbard died some time ago, but he left a legacy, left money to fund this competition because he believed exactly what you were saying earlier on, that science fiction is the future and that we should have more science fiction in the world.
You know what's interesting about the lineup of authors? There are a lot of women here. I don't know why I would think that women would not be involved with science fiction, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Looks like 6 women.
I was in the minority at the workshop. I know that. There were more women there than guys, and that is great because they bring a whole new perspective. That's
always great. Oh, but you're married. You just got married, so never mind.
Well, the participation you had in the workshop, though, must have worked both ways because you're able to give your ideas as well as listening to the ideas of the more established authors.
Oh, it was very, very influential and really useful. I mean, we had talks from Orson Scott Card and Kevin Anderson and a whole string of I've forgotten her name now. Zombie woman was there.
Have you checked? Timothy? Have you looked online at the listing on Amazon?
Yes. Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe you've seen this, but listen to this, Robin. There's a review on here. Hold on. I just lost it. Here it is. There's a review, and remember, this is a book filled with different stories. This is the review of the Push Bike Legion. The reviewer gave it 5 stars, and this is what it says: a great collection of stories, but this one that stood out for me. Oh, the one that stood out for me, The Push Bike Legion by Timothy Jordan. So this reviewer is saying your story stood out.
That's pretty awesome.
I know. I've got a few on there that just made my heart melt.
But have you seen that one before? Have you seen that review?
Yeah, I've sat there and read them all. Obviously,
I don't blame you. I would too. Yeah. That must have made everybody else mad. Oh, gee.
I think everyone gets a mention there somewhere if you read them all.
Oh, really? So, yeah, but that's their mothers. This isn't your mother, right?
Yeah.
Right, that's not my mother.
Well, good luck. I know you're pretty far from us, but if you're ever in Ocala, we'd love to have you in the studio, and we'd do this again. And good luck with what you're doing. I'll be down. Can I download this as a Kindle, as an ebook?
Yes, you can. I believe it's available on Kobo and Kindle, and I'm actually doing a book signing in Fort Myers this Saturday at the Marketplace Barnes & Noble, so if any of you guys happen to be swinging past Fort Myers and want to pick up a signed copy, then I'll be there.
What is that, 4 hours from here, Robin?
Yeah, it's not that far. What time is it going to be?
Right. It's 2 to 4 in the afternoon.
Oh, okay.
All right, Robin's writing it down.
Yeah.
I doubt that we're going to go, but you
We'll
never
see.
you never know.
We might be there.
You never know. Timothy, thank you for being on the air with us. That was fun. I'm so impressed, and it sounds like your life is going wonderfully. I can't wait to read the Push Bike Legion.
Yeah.
It's going great, and it was fantastic to be on your show. Thanks so much.
Very good. The interview, by the way, has been recorded. We'll put it up on. We do it on YouTube, so it'll be on YouTube by about 2:00 this afternoon.
Okay.
All right.
Go check out what I said.
All right, we'll take a little break. We've got to go to news, and we'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the paddock. This is WOCA, Ocala, Gainesville, The Villages, 1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.